Howdy, y'all. Jackson here with Trick Studios, and welcome back to another episode of Outside the Hash. It's going to be another quick episode because once again I am by myself, and I still have to be at work at 4 in the morning. So let's just hop on into this and get through it. So yeah, all right. So we'll start things off with the CFL as always. Uh, so it was a couple close games and a couple blowouts for the most part. So Ottawa smoked Calgary. It was PJ Walker's first start in Canada, the former 2020 XFL legend. He did lead the game in passing yards, but he threw a few interceptions. William Stanback led the game in rushing. Eugene Lewis for Ottawa led the game in receiving, was going over the century mark. I obviously came away with that game pick wrong. Winnipeg beat Toronto in a shootout, 40-31. Nick Arbuckle with over 300 yards passing. Oliveria with 50 yards rushing led the game, and then DeMonte Coxey with almost 200 yards receiving. So like 2/3 of the receiving yards almost for the Argonauts. So they came away with the loss. Hamilton eked by Edmonton 28-24 in a game that probably shouldn't have been that close. But Bolevy Mitchell, 350 yards passing. Justin Rankin, 69 yards rushing. John Drake Smith, 138 yards receiving. And that was my only correct pick of the week. And then Saskatchewan asserted their dominance as the best team in the league so far, smoking Montreal 34-6. Rip me, but I shouldn't have put my faith in McLeod Bethel Thompson, to be honest, because he has been garbage in the games he has started. So I am waiting to get my quarterback back. But Trevor Harris led the game in passing. AJ Ulede with the most receiving. John Trey Myers with the most receiving yards. So this upcoming week we got BC Hamilton. I will go Hamilton there. Edmonton Montreal. I will go Montreal. Only because Edmonton has been hot garbage so far this season. We've got Winnipeg, Calgary. I will go Winnipeg, and then Toronto, Ottawa. I'll probably go Toronto. So those are the picks. Bolevy Mitchell still leading the league in passing. James Butler has moved into front in rushing, and DeMonte Coxey is leading the league in receiving. Still, we have the crossover game because Toronto still only has 2 wins. So we will see how much longer that holds out. It'll be interesting to see if we do get the crossover. And with that, we'll hop over to the ELF, which just had their league-wide bye. So no changes in the standings or anything. No changes in SRS, obviously. No changing in the league leaders. So we will just get on to the pick'em. I will go Berlin. I will go Paris. I will go Vienna. I will go Stuttgart. That could actually be a good game. Step Nordic. I will go probably. Ooh, this is a good matchup. Munich, Madrid. Let's go Munich, just because I kind of need. Because I want Frankfurt Prague to make the postseason. They are my team, so I desperately need the lower wild card teams to lose, which what Brian is 6-4. So you probably need Brian to lose more, but I don't see them losing to the Raiders here. So I guess I will go Ryan, unfortunately. Yeah. So nothing else has changed. We'll hop over to the IFL. They had their first round of the playoffs here. There were actually a couple very controversial ending, and then a game winner at the of the other one. But Quad City beat Jacksonville pretty handily. DePon Neal absolutely killed it, 195 yards. He had like 6 passing touchdowns. Tyler Huff for the Sharks led the game in rushing, 55, and Jordan Besley with 102 receiving. And then Green Bay put on an outstanding defensive performance. They picked off Castronova 4 times to beat the Oilers, 58-26. So they gave Castronova his first loss of the year. So the AF1 quarterback MVP season, the extra season comes to an end in his worst game of the year. Just just a really great performance by the Blizzard. Max Miller with 211 yards. Kimani Clark 49-yard rushing. TJ Davis with 98 yards receiving as the Blizzard led all 3 categories. Vegas upset Bay Area 36-31 in I believe it was as time expired. They got the win. Jaden DeLora for the Nighthawks, 197, almost 200 yards passing. Antonio Wimbush with 28 yards leading the game in rushing. So obviously not much of a rushing game. Tyrese Chambers with 96 yards receiving for the Panthers led the game in receiving, but it was obviously not enough to get the win. And then the San Diego Strike Force beat the Arizona Rattlers as time expired and kicked the extra point to win the game. There was some controversy of whether or not they got the ball off at the end of the game, if there was no time left, if there were too many men in motion. But yeah, it was wild. So there will be no repeat championship here as the Strike Force beat the Rattlers. This is good. I like Nate Davis. He's a long time indoor quarterback, so it's good to see him play his way into the conference championship, which I believe they did last year as well. I believe they lost to Arizona in the conference championship last year, so it's good to see them get a little bit of revenge. He obviously led the game, 163-yard passing. Eddie Vander led the game in rushing with 64, and Arthur Jackson led the game in receiving with 85. Eddie Vander will be interesting to see if we get Quad City, San Diego, because Vander played for the Steamwheelers. It's kind of he had an interesting season because he went to Jacksonville originally because he's from Florida, I believe, and then he got traded to San Diego. So kind of wild. So it'll be interesting to see if we can get like a revenge game or something there. Obviously, I would want my Steamwheelers to win, but it's in that situation. But got a lot of respect for him. He's a very good running back in the indoor game. Uh, Green, but with that being said, Green Bay Quad City in Moline. Green Bay is just so hot right now. I can't pick against them, which hurts because I really want the Steamwheelers to win. But I gotta go Blizzard. And then yes, you are seeing this right. The 4-seeded Vegas Nighthawks are hosting the 3-seeded San Diego Strike Force in this game because of venue availability. There's a concert going on in San Diego's arena, so they also get kind of screwed over because this game I flipped the date. This game is the one on the 8th, and then this one is the one on the 9th. They got like a 3-day break. The Strike Force got like a 3-day break before they play their home playoff game away. So they got really screwed over. And with that, Vegas has the second best SRS, so I have to go Vegas. So they just kind of got screwed. But yeah, so that's what the postseason looks like at the moment. And then we hop over to the Arena League, which had their semifinals in the playoffs. Unfortunately, one of the games did not put their stats in yet when I checked like a half an hour ago. So rip functioning websites, am I right? But with that, Duluth smoked Ozarks again back to back week. So Colcomania also comes to an end. So both AF1 quarterbacks that were in the championship of Tyler Colco and Sam Castronova both lost, and they both played not great. So Duluth won 69-26. So I think it was actually a slightly closer game than last week. Uh, no, I might actually be slightly bigger. A 1 point difference. But yeah, Johnson over 300 yards passing. He led the game in rushing, of course, not with very many rushing yards, but led the game nonetheless. And then Brandon Mackey for the Lunkers lead the game in receiving, but obviously way too little. He needed to have way more bigger games. They're going to make up a over 30-point difference. And then the Hot Spring Wise guys continue their excellent season as an expansion team, 57-36 over the Iowa Woo. So there with that. So that gives us a championship next week of the Wise guys versus the Harbor Monsters, and I will go with the Harbor Monsters here to repeat as league champions. And with that, we will hop over to the Fun League, the Australian Football League, where we'll go over the scores. There were no changes in the teams of the top eight, though there have been a little bit of shuffling. Adelaide moved to the 1 seed. I believe Fremantle and Gold Coast moved up, and Hawthorn and GWS moved down. But yeah, Western smoked GWS by almost 100. Adelaide won a little bit closer game against the Hawks, though of course they're both top eight teams, so it's sort of more expected for them to have a close game. Brisbane kept Collingwood in check after their outstanding performance last week. Obviously, Gold Coast with one of the biggest blowouts I've ever seen, 107-23. So like the Tigers probably could have just not should have probably just not shown up, and the game would have been closer. Melbourne handled West Coast 139-56. Sydney eked by Eston 68-54 in a low-scoring affair, especially considering highest goal scorer was only 2. Fremantle beat Carlton 94-67. Geelong handled Port Adelaide 153-65, so an absolute offensive showcase there of our 150 points. And then St. Kilda eked by North Melbourne 78-69. So all in all, a pretty good pick for the pick'em, at least for me there. Of course, my Magpies lost, and they've had I think there's 2-3 over their last 5, so that's a little rough. But Collingwood Hawthorn at the battle of postseason teams at the moment. So but I gotta pick my pies. I will go Geelong. I will go Brisbane. Though Sydney has finally eked their way back to 500. Just such a shameful performance after their season last year. Of course, their second half was kind of garbage last year. They did make the championship, but then they got smoked by Brisbane, obviously. Carlton, Gold Coast, I'll go Gold Coast, Port Adelaide, Fremantle. They just played, didn't they? No, they didn't. Okay. Port Adelaide and Fremantle is the postseason team in the top eight right now. Fremantle, St. Kilda, GWS should bounce back. We'll go Western, and then Adelaide to the West Coast is Garbo. The top eight right now: Adelaide, Geelong, and Collingwood, Brisbane in your top 4. Fremantle, GWS, Gold Coast, Hawthorn in your bottom 4. So yeah, I got no other things to shill. Obviously, quick episode. I gotta I gotta go to bed soon. I gotta take a shower. So I will see.